So what we're going to do is I'm going to invite each judge individually to come up and give some general feedback on each of the 3 categories that we saw this afternoon, and then ask them to announce the winner in each of the 3 categories. So without further ado, who's going to go first? This order. Sorry, this order, right. So Matthew's going to go first. Best chair.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and fantastic competitors. So it was 37 years ago that I first spoke, age 14, in Year 9 in this competition. So it's a real thrill to be organising it along with my boss, Alex, and Duncan over there. The chair is a difficult job, particularly when you're the 8th chair and you've been welcomed to Churchill College 7 times already. It's very difficult, but we look at it every time as if it's a brand. We haven't heard anybody else. So if you were towards the end chairs, don't feel that we were another cliche, you know. We weren't. We don't think that at all. We were really impressed when you as chairs were warm, when you were really friendly, and clearly both were responsive to your speaker by listening to him or her. We found that was very important. Not that you're constantly making notes, but you were listening and looking at the audience and connecting the audience with the speaker, with your attention. We felt that was very good. And we also liked it when you could give a quick summary at the end without going through the entire speech, because we had listened to it and we heard the questions. But we thought the standard of chair was, as ever, very high. Things that we'd like you to work on, there's always things to think about. I did feel, actually, there was rather an over-reliance on notes by you. And there's really no excuse to have any notes about yourself or about your questioner, and you need very few notes at all about the speaker. You might need some notes at the end for your summary, but chairs, just try to put away your notes as much as possible. And if you have them on the table in front of you, you will look down. So pieces of A4 paper don't work as well as they might do. And sorry, I'm not trying to be critical, I'm going to help you, obviously. And you can critique me later on, preferably in private. I'm the teacher, don't you? And the other little thing, which is, if you do a lot of public speaking, judging, the cliches. How many inspiring, thought-provoking and fantastic speeches do I hear in one afternoon? Just try to avoid, it's a little technical tip if you want to go further in this. Find a word to use that is not one of those 3, because it's rare that someone is going to completely change your life over the course of one speech. But there were some fantastic speeches, don't get me wrong, but try to avoid cliches. But we were massively impressed. We had a slight argument over this, as ever, but we were very happy to award the Best Chair prize to Matt Robbins-Landricum of Papercraft.
Susie's going to share her insights on the questioner.
Questioner, yes. First of all, I'd just like to say what a privilege it is to be here. I think this is my 4th time judging the finals, and I can categorically say it's the most impressive yet, and that is saying something, because every year it blows me away. So a huge, huge round of applause now for all the people taking part. Thinking that I couldn't have done that at their age, but actually I don't think I could do it now either. So I'm just so impressed. It gives me great hope and optimism for the future of our country, because we've got maybe future politicians, CEOs, doctors, lawyers, maybe even journalists here before us, and that does make me hopeful. So on the questioner, I talk about the questioner normally because that's really a lot of what I do in my job as a journalist. And there are similarities to what the questioner has to do here, but it is a very difficult job. The questioner obviously is talking to the speaker, but also is talking to the audience, and is talking on behalf of the audience as well, is hopefully asking questions that the audience would like asked. So the key things for the questioner that we are always looking for is how much have they listened? How much have they listened to the speech, and how much do they listen to the answers they get? The impressive questioners are the ones that actually pick up on things that they are hearing in the answers and then ask follow-up questions. They also will bring out more of the speaker's argument, so they allow the speaker to actually develop their argument more, and we saw quite a lot of that in the questioners today. Most importantly also is the way they stand, and I always mention this, and I have to say we had a very impressive performance in that score, but there's still room for improvement in the way that you stand, engaging the audience and the speaker. So rather than turning side on and just looking, engage your audience as well. Make eye contact with your audience. So there were some very, very strong performances, and really we were all saying that there are only a few points between them. So please, those who don't win, don't think you didn't do well, because you did all do well. There was absolutely no shadow of doubt this was the best group of questioners that I have seen in all the time I've been judging this. But the person we chose as the winner of the best questioner, we thought actually owned the role, and that was Adve Mehta.
Who better to pronounce on the role of the speaker than a Lord Speaker?
Thank you very much indeed. I have to tell you that Parliament, and the House of Lords in particular, has a great deal to learn from you, and I think I will tell them that, really. The whole purpose of this debating competition is, of course, communication. What you're doing is you're giving a message, and hopefully what you're trying also to do is to persuade other people that your message has validity. And it was always sort of said to me that if you want to go fast in terms of trying to sort of progress yourself or your ideas, you travel alone. But if you want to go broad and wide, you travel with others. So you engage people in the common cause that you are trying to promote. And the more that you can do that with passion, the better. And there are three elements, really, to any speech. It's content, and its structure, and its style. And I have to say that more often than not, when listening to sort of sometimes interminable speeches in Parliament, okay, that you get various types of people. You get people who, for example, are extraordinarily astute and educated and sort of moral philosophers who have an important message and they mumble it. And no one can hear, and actually people give up trying. Then you get the joker, the people who think that they don't really need to know their subject because they've got such an amazing personality. They get stand up and say a few jokes, and then everyone will sort of follow on. And then you get sort of the very hesitant people who are not sure that they really believe in their own message, and that also doesn't convince many other people. I have to say, none of you fell into any of those traps. You were absolutely wonderful. There was passion, there was style. There was content, enormous content. There was evidence of research, and there was structure. And I'm hugely impressed with the way in which you marshalled sometimes very complex material, of which there is a great deal about your particular subjects. I also loved your subjects. I particularly liked it when those of you who posed a problem and were clearly concerned about it, but also actually came up with some solutions. Because that's always very satisfying, is you have a few ways, because you can then take the conversation a little bit forward. One of the things that I found quite difficult, and maybe it's because I'm so ancient and I can't hear, a lot of you let your voices drop at the end of a sentence. And it's terribly easy to do, because I'm actually doing it now, but I've got a microphone in front of me. We all drop our voices at the end of a sentence. It's the natural ending to a sentence. But actually, if you're speaking publicly, people cannot hear. And it is really worthwhile. It's not a question of shouting. It's a question of projecting. And Susie has already said this eye contact, and then indeed Matthew has said you've got a piece of paper, you're looking down, you're not in eye contact, and you're not projecting your voice. And there were some, really regrettably, some questions that I really didn't hear because the voices were dropping and people were looking down. Other than that, I really have no criticisms to make, and that really wasn't a criticism. It's an aid, a little tip here and there. The best speaker. Now we come to the most important thing. You were all wonderful, I have to say that. But we voted the best speaker is Eleanor Stiles from
Okay, and now I'd like to invite Andy Smith to come and present the award for the outstanding personality that was voted for you by the audience. Am I announcing it, Matthew?
You are, and we agree, by the way.
Okay. Matthew, I cannot read your handwriting. The outstanding personality is Reese. I'd now like to invite to the stage Jane Easton, Director General of the English Speaking Union, who will present the team prizes. Okay, so start with the running up team, and the running up team is from Newcastle under Lyme. The winning team comes from the Midlands Pates Grammar School.